Hey, folks, thanks for sticking with us through the news and the NHL news for the week. Now we'll get into our top 10 contenders for the Stanley Cup this year. So, Steve, I guess we'll go 10 as the least likely to win the cup and number one as the most likely to win the cup
Yes, on the
in
list.
our
So 10's
system.
not a bad spot to be in either.
No, God, no.
No.
That's still fucking 21 spots
Better
better
than
than
Arizona.
Arizona. So,
Yeah,
um, do you have any runners up that's not on your list?
I do. I have two. Washington and Boston.
Oh,
They never
all
made
right.
the list.
Yeah. I just got one. So if it was 11, I would have had New York Islanders at 11. Um, but I don't have them there. So go fuck yourself,
Yeah, go
Islanders.
fuck yourself, Islanders fans.
Geez, Philadelphia now Islanders. They're taking a beat, and Columbus. Fuck.
They're gonna hate us.
Well, who's not taking a beat this episode? Steve, who do you got at number 10?
I got the good old Calgary Flames,
Decent
and there's a
Canadian
reason I
team.
put them here. I got a few notes written down here. I'm going to talk about. I said with Sutter behind the bench, Calgary's kind of adapted to a new style of game. Previous coaches, they came in, they had Monahan, Lindholm, Backlund, Gaudreau. They had guys, Kachuk, who were obviously offensively talented, and it never really worked out for them in the long run. But with Sutter, they're kind of playing a new game style. They're playing a little bit more defensive. I wrote down they don't rely on outscoring you. They rely on solid defensive play and great passes up the ice to generate chances on the rush. And that's what they're starting to do. And, it's working for them so far this year. And I think Gaudreau's having a really good year. And the full forward group is playing well. And defensively, losing their captain, I mean, they haven't really missed a beat. They're doing fine with that. Although I wrote down it wouldn't hurt to add some experience at the deadline to shore up that group. Maybe you give up a second round pick if you're in a good position, something like that. And you look to add because I think any team on this list should be looking to add because you always want to improve your chances if you're playing so well. And for goaltending, I think they're fine too. I think Markstrom's one of the better goalies in the league. And Dan Vladar, for a goalie who's making 800K or whatever for 2 more years, I mean, he's playing well too. But for a reason why they are 10th and they're not higher would be their consistency. I think the big problem with Calgary has always been their consistency. They don't follow it up long enough to do well. And certainly in the playoffs, they haven't done enough to prove that they're a contender. But I think they're getting there. And I think with this new style of play, I think this is where they're going to succeed. And I can see them going on a run. And that's why they're 10. Sorry
Yeah,
for the
good
ramble.
call.
That was a little bit
No,
long.
no worries, man. Um, I'm not gonna lie and say that I have them on my list because I don't. But I could see why you make an argument for him. Like Markstrom is fucking playing lights out this season, most shutouts of any goalie
A new style of
so
play
far.
too. So
And they got a great first line. Lindholm and Gaudreau is playing really well. Kachuk is up on that line, or is it Mangiapane?
I'm not sure. Mangiapane is a really good forward too. That
Yeah, he's
sneaks in
he's
there.
really underrated. People didn't give him the
Yeah,
credit. He scored a sick goal the other night where he had to
yeah,
stretch out his right foot to stop a puck from going past, and then just snapped it in from one knee, which looked really good.
yeah.
Their defense is a bit weak. I mean, losing Giordano really hurt them defensively, I think, because now it's instead of him putting a lot of work on himself, they kind of gotta spare out the minutes a bit more. So it's more of like I don't know, a
I
team
think,
kind of effort to play defense instead of just having a horse back there.
and that's why I said added experience piece at the deadline. I was referring to a defenseman most likely.
Yeah,
I think it would be a pretty good idea for them to give up a second round pick and get a guy who is like second or third pair defensively and can eat up some penalty kill minutes, stuff like that, right? Especially when it comes playoff time. And like I said, this new coaching style, I think sometimes when you have a team that's been on the edge of being in the playoffs and outside the playoffs I think a new coaching style could really make it go well or really make it go bad. So I think it's a risk, and I think it worked out with Sutter so far.
yeah, and a lot of people were saying that Gaudreau never really adapted to the coaches in the past and kind of just did whatever he wanted, played his game. And I
Yeah.
mean, it worked out sometimes when he got 99 points and they were second in their division or whatever. But but in recent years it hasn't worked out for Calgary. So Sutter's really made Gaudreau buy in. The only person that I think still hasn't bought in all the way is Monahan. He's still kind of doing his own thing out there, and he's losing a lot of ice time because of it. I think he's second line now, and Lindholm has replaced him on the first line.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he buys in, good. But if not, they're still a great team anyway.
Yeah. He's if I look at a guy who could be moved, unfortunately, I think Monahan's a guy who would probably be on his way out next year too.
See, that's not bad right now because you'd have Backlund that can still play second line, but in the future, then you'd have to go out and find another second line center. And I
they
guess
got Connor Zary. He's a young guy coming up. He's not going to fill that role quickly, but over the course of 4 to 5 years, he could.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe then you look to move Monahan, but I don't know. Yeah, he's definitely a piece you could move.
Yeah. Who do you have at 10?
I got Colorado Avalanche, which is probably pretty controversial just because, I don't know, they're probably up there for probably the best odds to win the cup this year, but they've had a bit of bad luck with players out. I mean, McKinnon's been was out at the beginning of the season. Now he's out again. I think they have a great forward core to win the cup, but I think their defense are still a bit young and inexperienced. They got a lot of young pieces like Byram and Cale Makar that really haven't gone far in the playoffs. So, and people obviously like Devon Toews and stuff, and the two Johnsons back there really haven't had a lot of playoff experience. But I don't know. I also think they're lacking a bit in goaltending. They don't have that number one goalie that's usually necessary to win a cup.
Kemper's been on the edge.
Well,
Kemper's been on the edge of playing well and playing bad.
Yeah, but he's really like, I don't know. I can see him getting injured this season too, and then they're gonna have no or goaltending again, like they had a couple of years ago in the playoffs.
When Hutchinson was
I still don't think Francouz is back.
No, he's injured.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. That's not a number one goalie. I think that's necessary to win the cup. But I don't know. I think they got the forward core to do it if McKinnon comes back and starts lighting it up. And that whole first line does a lot better. But yeah, I don't know. They just got a really young team right now, so I think it could still take maybe 2 or 3 years until they start seeing playoff success.
Yeah, so I agree with you. 10. Yeah, they got some players like they got a few older players, but they're losing some guys. They lost Donskoy to Seattle, and you know they gave up Graves in a trade, I believe, and they gave up Connor Timmins, is another good defenseman. He went to Arizona.
Yeah, but those are two young defensemen. I think you got to bring in a bit of depth to.
Yeah, they do, and they need to sign guys like that. I don't think they did a good enough job of that this summer. I think they could have brought in some better depth than what they did. I guess there's cap restrictions and everything that goes along with it. They had to sign their cap into the big deal, but I think they lost some pieces too, and I don't think they're going to be as highly thought of as last year. So I think you're right when in that regard. And excuse me, I was going to sneeze, but I never. I think goaltenders too, like it's a bit risky to have Francouz there and Kemper. I think you need to bring in a guy who can, sub in if somebody's hurt. I don't know who you bring in. Tuukka Rask could be a guy. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
if he's willing to go. If he's willing to go. But I think they just need a little bit more insurance in the net because you don't want to end up with Michael Hutchinson like you did the other year. Even though he's on the Leafs.
Even worse than that. It was Buddy's name. Jeez.
They get
starts with an M or an H or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
Miska.
But, yeah, Miska. That's who it was too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they were playing him in the playoffs, and I mean, good for Miska. He's probably a great goalie to make it to that level, but not what you want in Stanley Cup Finals.
No, not the finals. The conference finals.
Just Stanley Cup playoffs. Sorry, in general. Yeah. Who do you have at number 9?
I got the old Minnesota Wild at number 9. Now, this might be a little biased because everybody knows I'm a Wild fan, but I'm going to say it right now. I think the Wild have one of the best defensive games in the league. They give you nothing. They give you nothing in the zone. And the way they transition the puck up the ice too. You come in their zone. If you dump the puck in, they grab it. It's up to the winger. It's out. It's quick as that, man. They draw it up so quick. They do it very efficiently. I think Dean Evanson's a very underlooked coach. I think he should be in the running for Jack Adams because he's that good of a coach, and nobody really talks about him as much as they should. He completely changed his team from being a mediocre team to a somewhat not mediocre team.
An above average team.
They're above average. Is what they are, and you know, they don't need superstars to win a game. They know how to play the greasy way. They can win several different ways. Although enough talking good about them, they're not the best team in the league. They're ninth in my contender list. There are some issues there, and I think the issues is what you would run into in the second or third round of the playoffs when you couldn't possibly meet a team. I know Carolina and Tampa Bay is not in their division, but for an example, I would say, let's say they ran into a team like Carolina, even if it was conference finals, Carolina's going to score on you no matter how good you are defensively. It's just inevitable. So if they don't have enough firepower to counteract the scoring, I think that's where Minnesota loses. I think Kaprizov's really good, and they got Zuccarello and Fiala, but I think they need some center depth. The center depth is so weak there. Eriksson's good center. He's playing first line. He's not a first line center. He's second line center on a good day.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I was going to say, I think they have good winger depth. I think their wingers all the way down are respected and are in the right places. But where it burns me is the center depth because like there was a matter of like 2 years there where they went from having like Stahl, Koivu, even like Johansson, and now they just are left with Eriksson, and I guess are waiting for like Marco Rossi to come up and make his impact on the team. But yeah, I still think they're a bit shaky in their goaltending, which you're probably gonna hate me because you're Cam Talbot, friggin' number one fan. You probably drive the fan bus behind the Minnesota bus when you go to away games, but I think they're still, I don't know, they still don't have a number one. I think they got a good 50-50 or like I don't know. I think Kakinen is going to be the number one there in a couple of years. But I do agree with you. I think they're one of the better defensive teams. I think their forwards are great at playing defense, and they probably got one of the best defense cores too in the league.
Yeah, I agree with you in some aspects of that statement. Obviously, I think Cam Talbot's number one goalie. The numbers show it, but that's not.
He's over 920 right now. I think he had like one bad game that's really bringing it down.
He's 8-3 so far. So
yeah,
we'll see. He's obviously not on the same level as a Vasilevsky or a Fleury or any of those names, but I think he's a serviceable starting goalie. I think that's a good way to put it. For most of the year. But yeah, like you said, he's not going to win you a series by himself.
Yeah, I can't believe he didn't find a start in the league before now. Really, he kind of had his chance there in Edmonton for a while, but I don't know. The fans just hate every single goaltender that comes through Edmonton. So.
Yeah, they're good at doing that.
Yeah.
Anyways, who do you have at 9?
I got the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think they look really good without their star players. I mean, they're missing Crosby, Malkin, Brian Rust. They were missing for a while. Jake Gensel was out with COVID. Jeff Carter's now out, and they still look like a decent team, right? So I don't think they're, I don't know, they're terrible without their bad players. So I can't imagine them being bad when those players come back. The thing is, I love Jari, but I don't know if he's ready to take them to the cup yet. I mean, I guess he was back up for Matt Murray like 3 years ago, but or even more than that. I think their defense needs a bit of work. They still got some guys playing defense some nights where I'm like, I don't even know who this guy is.
Ruhwedel.
Yeah, no, he came from Anaheim. I know Ruhwedel. He's a fucking beauty. But there's a couple players I don't know, just that they're bringing up from the AHL that I've never heard before. It's kind of just like they're a bit shaky on their defense. They got a lot of forwards like that too that you don't really hear of, but Pittsburgh has kind of a skill.
They got a good young guy, Drew O'Connor.
Yeah, I never knew him coming up, but he's 23 now, isn't it?
Yeah, Pittsburgh seemed to find these late draft picks that end up being serviceable middle six guys.
Yeah, well, even Gensel, I never heard of Gensel until he started playing.
Yeah, he's a good pick.
Brian Rust, he flew out under the radar. They got a lot of players like that. They just
even Connor Sherry they brought up.
Yeah, Connor Sherry, he's gone now. Where is he to? He's in Buffalo.
Washington. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I don't know. Pittsburgh still got the pieces there to win the cup, and I think they will take a couple more stabs at it before they start tearing it down. But I don't know. That's why they're at 9. They're obviously a cup contender because you never bet against Crosby. But they do have like bad problems with depth, and even when they get out of this like playoff run, they don't have any young prospects coming up. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
I
that's not a
think
problem for winning a cup, but
I
they
think
got a
you're
lot of
right.
like they don't have a lot of depth coming up to like feed this system. It kind of ends with like the Crosby generation, I think.
It's gonna die out eventually. I mean,
Yeah,
you're gonna once Crosby and them go, they're bottom of the barrel. It's just simple fucking math statistics with any NHL team when you don't draft. I said statistics. I had a stroke when I said that.
that's all
Forget I
right.
said that.
Everybody knows what you meant.
It's just inevitable, pretty much after being good for so long. And I think you're right, exactly everything you said. But I think they're not going to be able to get that depth because they have guys like Matheson signed to like 4.5 mil for next 5 years or something. And
I
then
didn't
you've
think that
got
was bad when they signed it, but it's getting worse over time.
yeah, and then you got a guy like
He's not moving
Zucker.
up the depth chart very quick, and he's not looking very offensive either. So it's just not looking good
Yeah,
over time.
yeah, and Zucker signed to like a big deal, like five and a
And they
half
signed
mil.
right-handed shot
John
straight out of
Marino,
college. Who?
they got John Marino,
Yeah, Marino. They signed him like after 24 games to pretty big ticket too.
and they also have Marcus Pedersen signed for like 4.5 mil. He's another defense, so they got him a lot of money invested in guys like throughout the lineup, and it seems like they still don't have much depth after investing all that money. So
Yeah,
I think they have a good team though, and with the players they have in their top 6, I mean they could obviously make a run any year.
yeah. They just got a sneaky team, and I never bet against Pittsburgh.
No, yeah, you're
No.
right.
Even with all their star players gone, they still look like they're not in a bad place right now for who they have out. So I don't know. I figured I'd put them at 9. I couldn't really justify putting it any higher than that. So
Yeah, I think that's a good place to put them. They are almost there for me. I was really thinking about it, but I was like, I don't see the depth, and that's what kind of
yeah,
got me.
I know.
And injuries too. So I feel like they get injured so easy, so they could get into
Yeah,
the
it seems like
playoffs.
they always have players out, man. It's weird.
Yeah,
I don't know. Malkin was never really like an 82 game player, and neither was Crosby. So as they get older
Malkin
now, that's
Malkin's not a
Malkin's
40
always
game
injured,
player.
man. What?
Malkin's not a 40 game player, man. He's like a
I
28
know
game player.
he's had some full seasons, but I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, they'll do all right. I think you're correct in putting him in that place on your
I don't
list.
know. We'll see.
Yep.
Only time will tell. Who do you have at 8?
I got Colorado team you had.
Nice.
I don't think they're as good as last year, and it's kind of what you said. I still think they have a deep enough team for a run. Um, I like their depth in some areas, but if they have to hold on and win some series, I think it just lies on McKinnon and the top guys. And I think eventually, like they had to carry the team because I think their team's too young, and I don't think they have the best depth in the league to be able to win a series if the top guys aren't hot. And the goaltending, like you said, is a bit suspect. Like you don't know if it's gonna hold up, and if there's an injury there, it could be like the fucking wheels could fall off the bus.
Yeah,
So
one injury could honestly take this team out from underneath their legs.
yeah, so I don't really have much to add what you said, other than well, I don't have anything to add. I'm pretty much the same uh, results there. So I don't know if you have anything else to say on the Avalanche at 8. Not really, or
No, a good spot for them. I mean, the difference between 10 and 8 is literally like 2 or 3 wins in April or March. So
yeah,
it's really a toss up at this point anyway.
yeah,
But yeah, they're definitely gonna make a stab at a cup run. They're not doing too hot now. I think they're 25th or something in the overall standing, so not bad. But they've also a lot of teams have had games on them, and they haven't been playing with their best player for a lot of games. So
yeah. They'll figure
we'll
it out.
see for sure.
Who do you
Um,
have?
At number 8, I got the Washington Capitals. Ovi's gonna single-handedly bring them to the promised land. They have 2 solid goalies in Vanacek and in Samsonov, so there's not a problem back there. I think if they split that 50-50 and just play the hot goalie, I think they'll do all right. Their defensive core is not bad. I mean, they've got some great pieces on the top end, like Orlov and Carlson, but then it really gets weak when you get down to the bottom 6.
Don't they have Nick Jensen?
Yeah, they have Nick Jensen. I think he scored the other night, man. He came over from Detroit.
Yeah.
I like Nick Jensen. I was happy. I was sad to see him leave. Sorry, but happy to see he's doing good over there.
Mhm.
They have a lethal power play and a great top 6 forwards. Too bad Anthony Manta's out, but he should be back maybe in time for playoffs. I mean, he just undergone shoulder surgery, so he's going to be out for a while. But maybe comes back from playoffs and helps out the top 6 a bit. Their depth is all right. They got a really defensively centered team around like Lars Eller and the rest of their bottom 6.
I think Lars Eller is underrated. I think he's actually a great forward.
He plays on the power play, doesn't he? With Ovi, he just feeds Ovi.
I'm not sure if he does.
Maybe that was a 5-on-5 goal I've seen. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, and then they're playing with Nick Backstrom too. So Backstrom's going to come in and play that second line. Kuznetsov proven that he's a first liner. Tom Wilson's there just to fuck shit up. That's pretty much all he's there for.
And his contract, his job title is like, you're not a forward, you just fuck shit up. That's what they wrote down on the paper.
It's like, don't touch the puck, dump and chase, and then injure as many people as possible in his contract. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I think their forwards can do it. Their defense are a bit weak when it gets past like the third defenseman, and they got 2 solid goalies. So I think putting them at 8 is pretty fair. I know a lot of people got them probably higher than this, and some people might even have them off the list.
Yeah, but, I don't have them on my list. They were honorable mention.
Yeah.
I think.
What do you have against Washington, or what do you?
I don't have much against them. I just don't think they add. They don't add, and I think they sit in the same position every year. I don't know if it's a cap problem, or if it's they don't have the pieces to get what they want. I just don't think that they don't make enough good positive changes every year. I mean, you got to bring in some players who are going to push you over the hump. I think.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake trading away Verana for Mantha. I love Mantha in Detroit. He was one of my favorite players when he was there, but he wasn't the quickest. He just had an unreal shot, and I think Jakub Vrana is just a speedier and smarter player.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's a little bit better player than Mantha.
Yeah, Mantha is kind of like an oversized and way more like offensively talented Wilson. Like, I don't know, they kind of.
He's like a little bit better than Nick Ritchie. Big mammal.
He's Nick Ritchie's bigger brother.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think they need to add. I think they need to find a way to bring in something, man, just to spark the team to go on a run. I think it's been the same team. Like, I bet you if you looked at Washington's roster the last couple of years, it's like, what the fuck is different here?
The core's been the exact same except the minus of Holtby.
Yeah, I want to see him make a move. I want to see him do something to, push him over the hump again. And because I think if they added, like, let's say, I know cap and everything and whatnot, but if they found a way in the world to add a guy like Tarasenko, something like that.
Well, you know what? If you put Anthony Mantha on long-term IR, you could free up a lot of cap. I think he makes like 6 or 7 million.
Yeah, just like I think they need to find a way to boost the team and make the team feel like we're adding players because we want to win. Like I think it's just a bit stale.
I don't think that's the play though, because I think Tarasenko is just like a watered down Ovi. They kind of do the same role.
Yeah, I know. I just used an example.
A bit better, but
I'm not really sure who to say. It was just an example, but I think they need to just boost the team up and say, look, here we're trying to win. Like we added these guys. Like let's give it our all. Just a little bit of a, it's getting a bit stale in Washington. I think that's the reason that I never had them on my list.
Yeah, no, I can see that they don't really shake things up. I think they're a bit smart for that though, because they know what works. They've been consistently making the playoffs since like 2012. So I think they found their winning formula. It's just Backstrom plus Ovi plus Carlson, and then like decent goaltending.
Yeah, I think
But
you're right
yeah,
about that.
so if
Yeah,
it ain't
a few
broke, don't
things.
fix it, I think is their motto. But yeah, and they tried to shake things up, bringing up Mantha, but
Yeah,
he's out again now. So
yeah, that's true.
when they get Backstrom back, I think they'll be a bit better
Yeah, I think they're doing fine anyways. Honestly, I think
for sure.
always playing like he's fucking 24.
Oh, he's playing like he's never won a cup. He wants another one real bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe you got it 7.
I got the Oilers at 7.
Nice.
Um, I wrote down. I think Edmonton is the best team offensively in the league. I don't think anybody matches. They got the number 1 power play in the league.
You
I don't.
can't.
I
You
don't
can't do
think.
better than Edmonton.
I don't think any team can outscore them. But I think there's teams that can stop them in the playoffs. I don't think they're not as effective offensively in the playoffs. It's a completely different game. Um, I think their defensive core is fine, but I don't think it's good enough to win. I think their goaltending is not near the level it needs to be. I know Koskinen's playing well. It's just a streak. Let's be honest. Um, Over the years, he hasn't shown himself to be a good enough goalie to bring a team to the finals. And with Mike Smith only playing a handful of games this year because of an injury,
Yeah.
it's evident they need to add a goalie. And I think they need to upgrade their defense if they want to win a cup. I think bringing in a guy like Duncan Keith's just not going to put you over the hump defensively. Like he's not even that good of a defensive defenseman anymore. He just makes a little too many mistakes. I think you need to bring in a guy who resembles the play style of a Colton Parayko, somebody like that. Not that player necessarily, because he's obviously not leaving, but somebody Jacob Slavin, one of those guys that you need a guy who's going to sit back, he's going to slow the game down, and then make great plays.
Yeah,
Because
I
they
think
don't
you'd
have.
lose too much value bringing in those guys. I think their value is pretty high. So
Yeah, I'm talking about a guy who can play that similar style, right? Even who plays like a Josh Morris, somebody who can just sit back. I know Darnell Nurse is good. I know they got some good defensemen, but I think they need a little bit more. Who was the guy inducted into the Hall of Fame from Edmonton
Kevin
last
Lowe.
week? Kevin Lowe. Perfect example, man. 6 Stanley Cups. The hot pick was Paul Coffey because he was getting the points. He was playing that style, but they also had Kevin Lowe, man. I mean, he was the guy who just sat back and made the great plays. I think Edmonton needs that if they want to win, and I think they need better goaltending. And they can't
Yeah, I'll agree
outscore in the
with you there.
playoffs. They can't outscore teams in the playoffs. Not going to work.
They're just too tired, man, because their two best players are putting up fucking 4 points every night in the regular
Oh,
season, trying to go break
yeah.
records. So
Although I
by the
do like
time
their forward
playoff
depth.
comes,
I do like their forward depth. I think they made really good strides in that direction this year with their forward depth.
I don't mind it. I think it could be better, but you can't complain when you got when you're paying like Draisaitl and McDavid that kind of money. You got to take some hits somewhere. You can't have a
Fogel's been
great
a good
team
ad.
everywhere. Oh yeah, that's right. Fogel's doing all right.
And you got guys like Nuge, and then you got Yamamoto, and who do they have in their bottom 6, man?
Boucher Harvey, they got Hyman that rounds
Yeah,
out the top 6.
yeah.
And
I
then you
think they
got
get
I think they're kind of counting on that Ty Ratty guy to come in and be a force, but I think he's still in the AHL. They got
Ryan McLeod.
yeah, they got him. They got
I think they got some
Lavoie.
good depth there. I do.
I think they got good depth coming, but I
They
don't
got
know. They
Derek
don't.
Ryan. He wins a lot of faceoffs.
Yeah,
He
he's a good
does.
face-off guy.
Yeah. So
He
I
came
think
over
they're
from
fine
Calgary, didn't
offensively.
he?
Yeah, they don't need anybody else up front. I think they need to focus on maybe getting a defenseman and a goaltender at deadline. And then if they do that, I mean, it's McDavid. He could win a cup.
They already tried though. They traded away fucking Taylor Hall for Adam Larson.
Yeah,
They've
well,
tried
Jesus
to
Christ,
upgrade
man.
that
That was
before.
Shirelli. That was Shirelli, man. They got Broberg and Bouchard, and they're the future. But the thing is, they're the future. They're not right now. McDavid wants to win
Yeah,
now.
I would
So,
say.
yeah, that's my 7. Do you have anything to add to Edmonton?
I'll get to Edmonton a bit later.
All right. Well, who's on 7 for you?
I got Boston Bruins at number 7 for me. I think they got the best line in hockey right now with Pasta Bergeron and Marchand. I think what they're missing right now is a second line center. It's the same thing they were missing in the preseason. I mean, to go deep in the playoffs, you need that 1-2 punch. You need like a great guy for offense, and then like a guy that can still put up points, but can also play defensively. I think their decor is decent. I mean, I like their top pairing with McAvoy and I can't remember, but but I think they do still need to work on their defensive core. They're like their 5th and 6th defenseman. I
Do they
don't
have
think
Carlo on that top line?
it might be Carlo. Jeez, I hate to do this. I got the all the rosters wrote down here. Yeah, so on the top line of Boston is they got Forbert and McAvoy. So I thought that was better. So yeah, they got Forbert, they got Mike Riley, they got Grizzlick and Clifton. So that's their 2 to 6 defensemen. So except for McAvoy and Carlo are the only really, and Grizzlick, I guess, on the third pairing are the only ones that I would consider like
They need to
serviceable and like
to
full-time.
upgrade their D. Yeah, there's no doubt
Yeah,
about that.
100%. And their goaltending's not the best. They got Swayman and Ulmark. So I definitely think they could. I don't know. Yeah, because we were talking earlier. Like I don't know which one of those you'd send down or trade out or replace in any way. So they might have to just stick it out that like that. But yeah, I don't know. Not the best defensive depth and not a number 1 starter. And they need a second line center. So there's a lot of pieces missing. But if they can fill even one of those spots, preferably a second line center, I think they can make a deep push this year.
I just don't think they're as big a threat as what they used to be anymore.
Definitely not what they used to be, because they used to have like Krug and Chara on the back end.
Yeah, they're
right?
not as big as a threat as they used to be. I think it's simple as that. They lost some pieces and they never brought back good enough pieces to make up for it.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, they're still clipping at a decent pace this year. I think that the that first line in Boston is just lethal. So I think that single-handedly, I think if Hall starts chipping on a more offense, their forward depth is all right. I don't mind their forward depth. There's good defensive players in there, but I think it's just their defense. I think if they brought in a player like you were saying, bringing in to Edmonton, I think they could go pretty far.
Yeah, I don't know who that player would be for these teams, but that's not our job. That's the GM's job.
Exactly.
Figure it the fuck out.
All good. What else do I have here? Yeah, one of their goalies just got to catch some steam. If Swayman or Ulmer can get on a hot streak and just really like turn it on, I think they'll definitely make the playoffs and might even go a bit farther than people give them credit for. I think they do need to bring someone in on the deadline though, if they want to make this push. So they kind of got a decision to make. They're at a fork in the road. They could either say, "Oh, this isn't our year. We'll take a step back and then rebuild for next year," or just build it back up next year, or they can go flat out and just say, "Fuck it, let's try to win another cup."
Yeah, I think they need to find a way to add some more pieces. Like you said, I don't think they have enough. So
yeah, I don't think they're ready, and that's why they're not in the top 5. I think everybody in my top 5 is ready to win. Everybody 6 to 10, I think, needs to either add something or turn it on.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Who do you got at 6?
I had the team that I actually picked to win the Stanley Cup. I know it's not. This is not a list who I think is going to win the cup. It's just contenders. So I think they can still win a cup at 6, and that's the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's a fucking joke. Somebody's gonna quote me on that, and I'm gonna look stupid. But
they're in there for me too, man. They're still coming on this for me.
How do they not contend? I mean, with players like that, you should, once they break that hump. I have wrote down here, once they break round 1, they're gone flying. I think once they finally break that fucking seal, man, that's just been keeping them in round 1 year after year after year after year after year. Once they finally get through that, man, and they win that game 6, they win that game 7, whatever it takes, even if they swept somebody in 4 games. I think once they move past that first round, I think they're gone flying. I think it's going to be straight to the fucking finals. I think the momentum and the buzz that's going to be in Toronto is just going to like push them over the edge. I think Campbell's going to play red hot. And I like their forward group because, they do pay guys a lot of money, but, right now, slow start to the year, they're picking it up. They're scoring. I mean, they're winning a lot. Lately, they're starting to go on a few streaks. And what else do I have here? I like the goaltending. I like Campbell. I like Mrazek. The only thing is Mrazek's health. Like, he needs to be healthy. If he's on the edge of being injured, time trade deadline, I would like to see him go out and acquire some depth there. And I'd like to see him add an experienced defenseman at the deadline too, to probably kill some big penalties in the playoffs. Somebody like Zach Bogosian did from last year. A guy like that. He left, obviously, went back to Tampa, but Bogosian played really well. Like, he played some big minutes there, some tough minutes for Toronto when they needed him. So maybe they find a guy like that at the deadline for like a 4th-round pick and like a shitty prospect or something. And that's all I had to say. Leafs are going to win cup. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know. As much as people shit on the defense, look on paper it doesn't look bad, but I don't know. They just can't. They can't get it done. It's not bad on paper though. I don't mind it. I don't mind their um forward depth this year either. I think Mikheyev is still injured, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once he comes back, he'll fill a role probably in that top 6. Bunting, I don't think's lived up to the expectations he had coming from Arizona.
He's playing well. He's playing well, man.
Nick Ritchie was pegged in on the first line.
Oh, he's fucking garbage.
I think they were right to send him down to the 4th, hopefully.
I don't like Nick Ritchie. I don't like him. I think he was a bad ad. Honestly, he's too slow to play that style of game they play.
Yeah, exactly. They're a run and gun team, so he doesn't fit in this at all. I think Simmons and Spezza are good on the bottom 6. I like that. Who's Liljegren is up now playing?
Yeah, Liljegren's been probably one of their most steady defensemen in the last 8 or 9 games.
Good, man. He's really tall and just, I don't know, smooth out there. So.
He's not getting the points, but he's making the great plays. He's not making any mistakes. And, that's the difference between keeping him in the lineup and scratching him. He doesn't make the mistakes.
That's what you need to do as an NHL defenseman. Who cares if you get all these points if you don't make mistakes and give the team a better chance at winning and keep pucks out of your own zone? You're going to stay around for a long time.
Yeah, so he's doing that, and I think this is finally his year where he carves out an NHL role. And I think he pushes Dermott out, actually.
Yeah, if they can make him, available for trade and get something back, that would be decent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, anyways, that's my number 6. Who do you have?
Yeah, I'll touch on Toronto a bit later because pointing at that I might happen later on. I got Edmonton, so your 7 is my 6.
Okay.
Best 1-2 center punch in the league. I don't think anybody's going to argue that, and I'd even make the argument that it's the best in the last 35 years, since Gretzky and Messier. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know who's been better in the last 35 years than
Malkin and Crosby.
That's true. Yeah, you might have me. You might have me fucking handcuffed already. But I'm still gonna make the argument. I don't think. I mean, Crosby and Malkin do good when one is out. I mean, one lights it up and they're really clutch on their own. But I don't know. Leon and Connor just work so well together. And where Draisaitl lacks in speed, Connor McDavid has it. Where McDavid lacks in one-timers and a powerful shot and net front presence. Leon Draisaitl got it. So I think they're perfectly complementary. So in my mind, the best 1-2 punch in the last 35 years. Their defense is well balanced. I mean, it could be better, obviously. I don't think you have to bring in a piece because you got Nurse and Barry. So if you bring in another piece, you're kind of pushing either, unless you pick up I don't know, I don't know. I don't even know.
Esa Lindell from Dallas.
They won't trade him. He's in their top 2. He's on the same line with Heiskanen. So
they'll get him for a 4th rounder probably.
You'd have to trade away one of your A prospects on.
Oh yeah.
No, I don't think their depth is bad at all this year. I think this is one of the better years that they've had forward depth. They brought in guys like Hyman, Fogle, like you said. Yamamoto's not playing the best. Pulja Harvey's turning it on. Derek Ryan wins faceoffs. Ryan McLeod's in now, and he's doing all right. Nurse and Barry are your cornerstones on defense, and then after that it gets a bit weak. Cody Cece's actually been surprising me a bit. I don't think Cece's playing bad.
I forgot he existed.
He was shit in Toronto and he was shit in Ottawa, but he's not playing bad on this Ottawa team.
He played in Pittsburgh too for a year.
Did he?
Yep. After Toronto, he went to Pittsburgh.
I forgot he was alive too until this season. I actually see him on the box scores a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Broberg, when he comes in, this defense is going to look a lot better with Bouchard and Broberg, for sure. The one hit I I don't think their forward or defense is bad at all. I think their one hit is their goaltending though. I think they desperately need a number one, or at least someone that can come in and play 75% of games, and then either Smith or Koskinen and take over the last 25.
I
don't
thought
know.
they were going to sign Holtby this offseason.
That would have been a bad thing because they play a similar game to Washington, I guess, less defensive, but the same like kind of like offensive game. And they're obviously just take advantage of like power plays a lot like Washington. So that could have worked. I could have seen, but I don't know. I don't know who you'd have to bring in, but they're going to be looking for one at the deadline. I know that if they want to win the cup this year.
Yeah.
They got Stuart
They
Skinner
got to.
in the minors right now, and he plays a bit. But
He's
he
not
doesn't
good
look
enough
ready.
to back up a team yet.
No, he doesn't look ready yet.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, so that's my 2 cents on the Edmonton Oilers.
yeah, and I already gave my 2 cents, so we'll move on.
For sure. Did we talk about 5 yet?
No.
Yeah, it's your 5 right now.
St. Louis. I
Not bad.
I have them right in the middle. I don't think they're the most complete team, but I think they have a smart and defensive team. I think they're good at defense. I think they're good at offense. I'd like to see them add a really good backup option in net because their backup is Ville Husso right now.
He's good. I don't mind him.
He's good, but I don't think I'd like to see a solid veteran there.
Well, when you get in the playoffs, you're usually only playing one goalie anyway.
Yeah, depends on injuries too, right? That's the only thing I look at.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd much rather go into the playoffs with a goaltender who has playoff experience as my backup rather than somebody who's only played 20 or 30 NHL games. Anyways, because that could ruin your season, man. That's why I look at that. And yeah, I don't think they're complete, but I think they're good in enough areas to, some nights are better offensively than defensively. Some nights are better defensively than offensively. I think they fluctuate in that sense. And I think they have great leadership and some underrated scorers in David Perron and, James Neal's there too now. I mean, he's no superstar, but I mean, they're getting their money's worth from Neal, I guess. And,
I don't know how you couldn't. He's only getting like 700,000.
Yeah. So, they're finding ways to stay relevant and stay in the hunt. So I think at 5, I think that's a reasonable spot because they could go on a run any year. It's just one of those teams. But I don't really have much notes on them, so I just think they're a competitive team.
I don't have them on my list just because I don't know. They're a bit. Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas haven't formed into like the second line center that they need to be yet. So they're really only just running with Ryan O'Reilly at the first line. He's probably one of the better first line centers in the league for like offensive and defensive. Like I don't know a better one that I don't know a better two-way center. Well, obviously I do like Bergeron and them, but you know what I mean.
He's
like
good.
He's just a great two-way player. The fact that I didn't know that. I thought Tarasenko wanted to stay around, but Tarasenko still wants to leave, which kind of sucks. Schwartz has gone to Seattle. Perron is good. He started hot, but he's starting to slow down now. I think Husso's a good backup. And I think St. Louis is one of the better defensive teams in the league. So I could see having them at 5. I didn't have them on my list, like I said, just because I've seen some teams a bit over them, but they're doing good right now, and they could definitely get in there, but I don't see them really as a team that goes far. I think they're past their prime now. I think their chance to win it was like 2014, and then they probably won it in 2019. So I don't think they get back to that.
Yeah, well, time will tell, I guess.
Yeah.
Who do you have?
I had your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, let's hear why.
At number 5. I think they got probably one of the best top 6 forwards in the league. I think when Mikheyev comes back, it'll only add to that. They got to get, I don't know, Bunting out of the top 6 and let him just do fuck around on the bottom 6 for a while.
Fuck, man, he's not that bad. He scored last night, sure.
I don't think he's top 6 though, man. Not on that team. He could be top 6 on Arizona.
He's complimentary. Is what he's got a few points, man.
All right, still early in the season. I don't mind Toronto's depth. Like I was saying earlier, I like Spezza, I like Simmons.
I like Kerfoot. I think Kerfoot's really good.
Kerfoot's Kerfoot's a good penalty killer.
Yeah.
He's probably a trading asset they're looking at moving. I hope they don't because I like Kerfoot.
He's got 10 points in 15 games.
Wow, I didn't know that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think their young defenseman got to pick it up. I think Liljegren and Sandin is a good pairing on the 6, on the third line. Sorry. But yeah, I think they just got to come up and prove that they want their spot and just play better than Dermott and Justin Hall. And then, I don't mind Toronto's team. You pretty much said it all. I think Jack Campbell looks sick. I thought Mrazek was going to be the starter, but Jack Campbell is obviously the starter on this team. So hopefully he can stay healthy and stay motivated for a whole 82 games. And they'll definitely get into the playoffs. And I hope they make a deep run. You said earlier, what if like Toronto sweeps a team? Like if Toronto sweeps a team in the 4th round or in the 1st round, I think they'll just have a parade, and then they'll like focus on like getting a Stanley Cup parade later if they even get that far. But I think that would be like the biggest celebration in Toronto since the Raptors won.
Since the Raptors won, yeah.
Yeah.
Even bigger than that. It'd probably be bigger. It would be bigger than the
honestly,
Raptors.
Probably bigger.
If they win, if they swept the team, imagine if they had to play a team like Tampa Bay in the 1st round or something. If they're like 2 and 3 in Atlantic, if it was like 2 and 3 in Atlantic and they played Tampa Bay and they had home ice or something, like
imagine they swept Boston. I'd say that'd be even better.
Oh my God, then.
I don't know. Everybody would remember 2013 and they just like, fuck you, Boston.
I wouldn't want to know how many beers they'd have served out in the bars in downtown Toronto after that night.
That would be a nightmare. I'd say it'd be a riot. There'd be fires in the street, police cars upside down. Women and children would be locked in the house. It'd be fucking, it'd be a riot, man.
You're right.
Yeah, so that's who I got at 5. I think we said enough on Toronto. Or do you got anything to add?
No, they're gonna win cup.
Perfect. You heard it here, guys. They're gonna sweep Boston in the 1st round, then win the cup.
Exactly.
Who's at number 4 for you?
Number 4 for me is a good old Florida Panthers. I think that they're onto something here. I think they've got a lot of depth, and it seems like they're doing fine without Quenneville. I think their team's fairly complete. I don't like the $10 million in the net there with Bobrovsky, but I mean that's done with. I think Mackenzie Weegar is a very good defenseman. I think he's very good at getting the puck up the ice. You know, he knows the game well. He plays well. Ekblad is probably in Norris talks. I think that'd be fair. I mean, I know he doesn't score points like some other defensemen, but he gets his fair share of points, and he plays on the top power play there, and he's very effective. And I think the goaltending is good. I don't think Bobrovsky is as bad as people shit on him for. I think he's actually a really good goaltender. I mean, he's
doing sick this year.
Yeah,
he's doing amazing this year.
He had a tough start in Florida, but I mean, he's figuring it out. And I think the cherry on top for that team is the fucking guys like Bennett and Reinhart who come in and fit, and Duclair, and they fit so perfectly.
Awesome. Duclair's got like almost 10 goals, I think.
For Toronto and everything, they have so many talented players on that team. It's almost too many. Like, you know, they're going to lose some next year when cap problems come into it. So insane group.
Well, they're in the same place as Tampa Bay now. They're just they're rearing up and getting all these guys ready for a couple of years of playoffs. So
yeah,
I mean they'll get in the same thing. Tampa Bay did the same thing. They brought in pieces that fit, and then when their young guys are ready to come up and get paid, you either got to trade them or trade some pieces that fit to keep them. So they're in Tampa Bay's little cycle now. So
yeah. That's all I really had to say. I think they're just going to contend for the cup, and I think they haven't got out of the 1st round in a long time either. So it's going to be a big celebration for Florida fans when that happens.
Toronto and Panthers play in the 1st round. That would be
I would actually love that, man. I'd be afraid of the outcome, but I would love it.
I think I'd be happy either way. I want to see Panthers do good, and I want to see Toronto do good. So I'd be happy with either outcome.
That's good, buddy. Let's hear who you have.
I have Tampa Bay, so I guess we're kind of going the Battle of Florida here.
Yeah.
They look really tired this season. I'd have them a lot higher than 4 because obviously they deserve it, being the reigning Stanley Cup champions. They just look so tired this season. I mean, they can't get on a win streak. Kucherov out is really hurting for them. But I guess that makes guys like Killorn and Palat just give them more time. I don't know why everybody's shitting on the depth. I mean, you can't replace the depth they had last year because that was like that was an unreal like fourth line they had, and they did lose. Geez, buddy, that went to Kraken.
Blackwell.
No.
No, wait, that's New York
Yanni
Rangers.
Gourde.
What the fuck am I thinking? Yanni Gourde, yes. Yes.
Yeah. So you can't replace those guys, but I mean, they did a pretty good job bringing in Perry, bringing in Bellemare, and I don't know. Ross Colton is looking good this year. Matthew Joseph is looking good this year. So yeah, you can't really complain with the depth or the top six that they got in forward. And I think their defense is pretty stacked too. Like Hedman, Sergachev, McDonough. Then you got guys like, I don't know, Cernak and Suitster that are decent. What else do I got here? Vasi needs, I don't know, some help there because he's obviously looking tired. He's not playing as well as he did last year. I guess you got Elliott there to back him up, but I think he just needs more games off until you get the playoffs, and then you can really just start abusing Vasilevsky, throwing him in there every single game.
I forgot Elliott was still alive, man. He's fucking old. Holy shit.
Brian Elliott. He's made his way around the league.
He's just hanging on to the NHL by one fucking, like, this is the last finger, him hanging on to his
he's
NHL
there
career.
holding on to a bridge, and it's two pinkies, and he's like, please get me Stanley Cup, please. So I don't have any complaints with this, but they just need the pressure taken off their big guys until they get in playoffs. So start giving Elliott more starts to give Vasilevsky more rest so he can do sick in the playoffs. Kucherov will come back around playoffs probably in January or February and get in a nice groove. But until then, you've just got to give your big guys more rest and let them just kind of cruise until they get in the playoffs, because it's hard playing that many games over the last 2 years, right? So
yeah, you're right.
But that's tough. I got him at 4 for those reasons.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna talk about him a little bit later, I think.
All right, Steve. Who's your number 3?
At the good old Carolina Hurricanes at number 3. I think they're really close to winning. And I think the thing that makes Carolina special is that it starts from their coaching primarily. Rod Brind'Amour.
I had the same thing.
He's an example of hard work. And I think it rubs off on the group really well. I mean, when you have a coach who's in better shape than you, it really shows you, like, this guy, like, fucking knows what it takes. Like, we got to listen to this guy. This guy's just not going on with nonsense. He played a long NHL career. He's in shape. He's not some overweight dude who just sits down and cashes fucking big old coaching checks. I mean, this guy knows. He knows the game. He knows what it takes. He won a cup, and what better coach could you have on the bench? And as for the team goes, I think they have everything they need to win. If I were to add anything, I'd probably add some depth defensemen. Even though they do have a great defensive core, like, I don't see reason to add anything. I don't know if there's holes in the lineup at all. Really, I think
I wouldn't add a thing, man.
I wouldn't, and that's what I said. I said I don't think they're in a rush to add anything. I just think they have to push through with the group they have, and they got to hope it works out. And I think it'll work out eventually. I think they're going to win a cup within the next 2 to 3 years. I don't know about yourself, but I think they have what it takes. Kotkaniemi is a good ad. I know he's not getting the points to justify the contract, but he's still got a lot of upside there, and they like their Finns in Carolina.
Sure do.
Yeah. And then they're playing well for him. Aho is one of the best forwards in the league. He's probably top 15.
Yeah, I'd say he's top 10 centers for sure.
Yeah.
Or geez, really probably even higher than that.
He's a really good player. I think they got it all. I'm just, I kind of started the season. I picked him to miss the playoffs too.
I can't believe that. I had him number 1 in the Metro. I can't believe you.
We had differing opinions, and you're right. I thought the change of goaltending was and the change of defenseman was gonna.
I mean, yeah, you kind of had me second guessing myself when you're talking about the change in goaltending. Like, I don't think that's ever been done either. Just take out 2 goalies you ran with last year and bring in 2 totally different ones.
Yeah, I'd question that, but I mean, Freddie Anderson's making me look like a fucking dumbass. So, we'll see what happens. Do you have anything to say about the old Caniacs?
I'll talk about them a little bit later.
Okay. Who did you have at number 3 then?
I had the Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh yeah,
They're, I don't know, not doing great right now, but I think a lot of that is due to injury. I literally have right here, like, they might as well be a walking hospital right now because like they got Mark Stone just came back, but Pacioretty, Jack Eichel, and William Karlsson are all out of the top 6, which I don't know, pretty much fucks them because Chandler Stevenson's is still playing first line.
yeah.
Marchessault and Smith is up there. They just lost Tuck in the Eichel trade, but I think it is worth it. And they also lost Peyton Krebs, which was playing a little bit of like fourth line time for him, just in and out of the lineup. But considering all that, I think all those players are going to come back and be better than they were before. And I don't know, Vegas in January is going to be a scary team to play. Robin Lehner too is starting to catch his stride, and he's stringing together a nice few really good games.
Yeah, he's not the reason they're losing.
I think he had like 43 shots last night. I think he let in like 3 goals.
He's not the reason they're struggling.
No, God, far from it, man. I'd say he's the only reason keeping them competitive.
Yeah.
I think their defense is good. I think Pietrangelo is a bit overrated. I'd probably put maybe Theodore above him in the lineup. But saying that, he still eats a ton of minutes, so he's good. He's still good. I think they do have one of the better defensive cores in the league. Martinez, Pietrangelo, Theodore, McNabb, Haig, and Whitecloud. They just signed Whitecloud, so obviously expecting some good things from him. And I don't mind their depth either. They've got depth scoring like Danonov, Clayton, or Kolazar is all right. Waugh, or is it Waugh or Roy? Nick Roy?
I think it's Waugh. Nick Waugh, I think
it's Nick Waugh too. Puts up a bit of points. Hopefully Nolan Patrick can start putting the puck in the net. Yeah. I think this team, I mean, you start making that like cup run right after New Year's. And I think this team after New Year's is probably the scariest team in the league. Where like, I don't know, Tampa Bay, Florida, Carolina, they've got other players and they're going to be beat. These guys are going to be fresh and they're going to be ready to win a cup in the later half of the season.
Yeah, you make some great points there. And actually, I didn't even have them on my list.
I mean, well, right now they're playing dog shit right now.
I know they are, but I know they're gonna get better. Obviously, with those additions, I just I think it's more so I don't want to see them win because they traded Fleury. I'm kind of a bit salty about that still. I haven't got over that.
No, me too. I'm happy they didn't disrespect Lehner too. Imagine I don't think they could if they got rid of Lehner, then they would have been fucked in like 2 years when Marc-Andre Fleury hung them up. So
yeah. So I thought it's cap situation really. That's what it comes down to. I mean, if they never got rid of Fleury, they would have never been able to add Eichel either. So
that's right. Yeah.
Tough decisions, I guess. I think the way they went about it was the issue, though.
But, I don't know. Transparency is usually the best way to go in this day and age. I mean, this isn't old time hockey when the players were just assets. Like in every business, like your employees are people. You got to treat them the same as you would your own family, really, to make everything gel properly.
Yeah, but you did make some good points about their group, and when they do come back and they get every player there in the fold, they got a lot of dangerous players who can score a lot of big goals.
Yeah, they're going to be scary, man. But right now, they are struggling with injuries. So,
yeah, you're right.
Hopefully, they can run around. Who do you got at 2?
I got the old Winnipeg Jets at number 2.
Wow.
I think they're the most complete team in the NHL right now. What do you think of that?
I'd have an easy time arguing with you on that. I think they're. I don't think they're very complete at all.
I think they got a really good team. I love their lineup from the top to the bottom. I think the thing that worries me about them is defense. I think they need to add a right shot defenseman, a good right shot defenseman, and that's why I suggested PK Subban.
Yeah.
I love their goaltending. I know Hellebuck's not having a great year so far, but it's only early. I mean, he's going to get hot. He's just one of the better goalies in the league.
I think so too. I'd
He'll
say
he'll
he's
do
second.
fine. Yeah, and I think Scheifele and Dubois and Statsny,
Yeah, that is pretty sick.
the
Yeah,
middle three
Stastny
centers.
was a shaky second line center, but having him at the third line is sick.
You know, you got those three centers. I mean, teams' offense runs through the middle, and you have guys. Dubois having a good year.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
I
about
think he's up
Scheifele's
to 11
year,
goals.
honestly. Yeah, and you know, if you have those kind of players in the middle, like running that, I mean, you've got some talent, and Ehlers is really good. Like he's a really talented player. Then you got Connor, so you got players on different lines that can complement each other. You got a guy like Andrew Kopp, who's like starting to score some goals and find his offensive talents. And then you got a guy who's a lower in the lineup, Adam Lowry. He's like a fucking truck, man. He's massive. He hits.
Yeah,
I think they
is.
got
And
a
he can
bit of
fight
everything.
too. He
Yeah.
can fight too, man.
Yeah. Then on you look to the blue line. You got Neil Pionk. He's a very serviceable defenseman. He came back in that Jacob Trouba trade, and he signed a pretty decent ticket this summer, I think. You know, he makes good passes. He's good transition game. Then you got Morrissey, their best defenseman.
I think so too. Yeah.
There's no arguing that. He plays well offensively and defensively. He's not a big point scorer, but he can make some good passes every now and then. You got a guy like Nate Schmidt who came from Vancouver. He was a real big help on that blue line, I think. Really made it easy for them to put him in there and slot him in there. And I'm not really sure the rest of their blue line, but I still believe that they could add like a right shot guy. Like I wouldn't hurt. I think I wouldn't add to their forwards because they have so many talented forwards. You're not going to put more cap space up there when you need it in the back. Logan Stanley, another guy as well. He's massive. He's 6'7".
No, he's huge.
Plays on that blue line. Dylan DeMello, Vinny Hilola, Brendan Dillon. I think this team's complete, man. I know we don't see eye to eye on this, but I'm a real big fan of this group. I'd like to see Vesalainen step it up a bit, probably.
Yeah, for sure he needs to. He's been well touted for a while now. Or hardly touted, sorry, for a while.
Other than that, I think this team will try for the cup, and I think they're going to be all right. I think they might have a chance.
Yeah, see, I like their forward core. The forward is pretty complete, top to bottom. I like it. I think they got great centers. Even their wings are great. I wish Perfetti could step into the lineup and start producing a bit more. But I mean, some players take a while, especially trying to transition from CHL to NHL isn't always the easiest thing to do. Just their defense falls off. They don't have a superstar here. Morrissey, I'd say, is a good defenseman, but you definitely need I don't know. He might grow into that role, but he's not a top 2 defenseman right now. He's probably top 4 on any team, though. Nate Schmidt is good from Vancouver. I think he's underrated. He doesn't get the respect he deserves. And Neil Pionk, I think those 3 defensemen are great. You don't move any one of those. But I think Dylan, Stanley, and DeMello really aren't. I don't know. I don't think they're.
Stanley's young. That's why I'm a little more lenient with him.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade Stanley because he's young and he's big. But DeMello and Dylan, I don't think are you base your defensive core around. I don't watch them play very often, so I don't know if they're like defensively responsible or what they bring to the offensive game. But I don't know. I think you need one more defenseman in there. Probably, like you said, a right-handed shot. Then you could move Schmidt down to the second line with Pionk. And I don't know, have a right-handed top 2 defenseman, and then this team would be a lot better. And you don't switch up your goaltending. I mean, Comrie is decent as a backup. He can play some game to take some time off Hellebuck. But Hellebuck's your guy there, and that's your guy that's going to lead you to the Stanley Cup if this team's ready. I think this team is the next team to win the Stanley Cup for Canadian teams. I think they get it before Edmonton.
What about Leafs?
I think this team is the next Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good pick. I also forgot to mention
I like this team, but I don't like them this year, and that's why they never made my top 10.
That's fair.
But I do like this line. I think they got a great core to build around, and in a few years I can see them making serious pushes. This core would be better with Line in there, but I guess if you have Line, you don't have Dubois. So
Yeah. I also want to mention before we move on, Evgeny Svechnikov has 6 points in 13 games. Like, get shit on Detroit.
yeah. All right.
Lose.
Well, Svechnikov, I liked him in Detroit. I wish he went further in that organization, but I'm happy he's moved on and found success now. I'm not going to be
You're the bigger
salty
person.
I'm not going to be salty like a Toronto fan would.
Yeah. You're the bigger person.
That he's doing good now.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Who do you have up in the 0-2 position, buddy?
So just to feed on what you said, I think Florida's the most complete forward team. I think they have the best overall forward core. I mean, top to bottom, Duclair, Reinhart, and Bennett. I don't know. We're kind of underappreciated at their old teams. Came in here and found a perfect role. I think each of them play. I don't know, a separate game. Duclair's a scorer. Reinhardt's kind of a grinder and can get you a few points. And Sam Bennett is just penalty kill and morale guy, I think. Lundell's playing great for a third line center. He's doing great. This kind of reminds me of the first year Vegas team. This team got a lot of misfits on it. Verhaeghe wasn't appreciated in Tampa Bay. He's over here doing good now. Bennett from Calgary, Reinhart, Duclair, Hornquist from Pittsburgh.
Got a lot of pieces, man.
They got a lot of Thornton from Toronto. This is the new Vegas Golden Knights. They got so many pieces here that just were underappreciated, but just come into the system and with these players are doing great.
Mm-hmm.
Now saying that, as much as I want to, I don't know, hype them up forwards, their defense is just not where it has to be. Uyghur and Ekblad are amazing. They're a great pairing for that top line. I wouldn't change a thing there. But then it really drops off, and then you got like Forsling and Gudas.
Forsling's playing well though.
Yeah, I guess. But would you have him as a top 4 if you had a choice to? I think he's a better top 6.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
Forsling and Radko Gudas. Even though Gudas is playing good this year, he's chipping on offense somehow too. And then you got Nudavara from, I think, Columbus, right? Or is that a different person I'm thinking of?
Nudie Vera's from Columbus, yeah. Well, look at this, man. Gustav Forsling's got 10 points in 15 games this year.
I mean, maybe I'm full of shit though. I don't really watch Florida, but
it's just I was a fan. I was a fan of Forsling actually, but I know what you're saying. The Gudas is not the guy you want in your top 4.
Yeah, that's kind of get fucked Chicago. Chicago's struggling defensively and just trade away this fucking beauty.
Yeah,
and then you got Montour, which I guess isn't bad for a top 6, but. It could definitely use some upgrades. I think they need to bring in maybe one more piece and Gudas down to the third line, and then I think you could get talking.
Yeah.
But Borowski's playing unreal this season. He's not worth 10 million because I'd be hard pressed to name very many goalies except for Vasilevsky that's actually worth 10 million. But I don't know. He's to get him there, and I don't know. He's playing great this year, so no complaints there. And Spencer Knight's decently reliable. He's had a couple tough games when he was trying to give Bob a break on like double headers, but I mean he's reliable, and he's obviously the future of Florida when Bob moves on.
He needs time to grow too. Like he's 20 years old.
For sure. But I really like this Florida team. I think the fact that people were underappreciated came in here and they're all gelling together. They got a really good lineup. It must be so much fun to play with these players. Yeah. I think it'd be so much fun to play with Reinhart, Huberdeau, and Duclair. And we're not even talking about that Tippett fella either. Tippett's got a couple goals now in the season.
Oh yeah,
he's playing pretty good too.
Yeah, he's young.
What's his first name? Owen Tippett. Yeah, he's supposed to be a really good sniper.
Yeah, I'm looking at Florida now, and like a lot of these guys are near point per game, man.
Yeah, Florida's playing unreal this year.
Frank Vetrano's playing like ass, though.
He's not expected to do much, man. He's pretty much there just for, I don't know, defense and shut people down.
Yeah, pretty well.
I don't see a lot of defense on this forward core, though. There's no really defensive players. I guess Lundell's a good two-way player. Luosterainen, I don't know what type of game he plays. maybe
I don't really know
defensive.
either.
Thornton, I guess, is good defensively, but I mean, just for back checking, he's not the most swift person.
No.
So I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, they got a good team, man. They are pretty complete, you know. It's hard to
Sure.
argue against Florida being one of the most complete teams.
Yeah. Who do you got at number 1?
I went with Tampa Bay. I didn't see a reason to not put them at number 1 because they got back-to-back cups. You know, I know there's more holes in their lineup than there has been. But they have a chance to three-peat for the first time since the 79 Islanders went on their 4-year run. They won 4 cups in a row.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. With Kucherov in the IR, maybe they find a way to sneak in and add some pieces somewhere.
That'd be so greasy doing that 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. And they have the best goalie in the world right now.
Yeah.
I think their defense has big names like fucking Cernak, McDonough, fucking why am I forgetting Hedman? Hedman's the last name I thought of. What
Hedman's yeah, man.
Edmonton's there. Then the forward group: Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Killorn, Palat, Point,
never ending, man.
Colton. Yeah,
The
they got a lot of
offensive
good
threats
players
on that team just doesn't end. Doesn't end with the top 6 like a lot of teams. It goes well into the bottom 6.
And the thing with Tampa Bay is they can play any style you want. You want to play defensive, they'll play defensive. You want to play offensive, they'll play offensive. You want to check and game, they do everything. So I think I put them at number 1 because they've won 2 cups in a row, and they probably want to get that third one really bad. You know, that's official. That's official dynasty.
Yep, I'd say three.
I think they're in
3 years.
I think they're close to
maybe a
dynasty
now.
I think they're close to dynasty, but if they win that third cup, it's not even an option. Everybody knows.
Oh yeah, obviously they go down in history.
Yeah. But we'll see how it shakes out. I got them at number 1 on my list, and I believe they're really looking forward to that third cup, and I wouldn't be surprised if they got it. I think it'd be kind of boring because I want to see somebody else raise it, but
yeah,
you know, it is what it is. You have anything to add?
No, I think I already talked about Tampa Bay enough.
All right, who's your first contender here?
Well, the reason I'm wearing this hat and this jersey.
Go fuck yourself.
Brian Larkin, the best captain in the world. Raymond's gonna win the fucking Calder. Sider's gonna win the Norris.
You got it all wrong, buddy.
No, I'm joking. Okay. I got Carolina. Carolina.
Okay.
Like you said, probably the best coach, or one of the best coaches in the league right now. And I mean, just the work ethic that he brings really feeds down into his players.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina is, I don't know, the best team out of the gate so far. I mean, I guess Florida does have more or less regulation losses, but they've got the same amount of regulation losses, but they've got 3 overtime or shootout losses, which just I guess gives them more points. But their top 6, this is the most complete line for me. They've got the best defensive team. They're getting the best goaltending from Anderson right now. Their top 6, their second line could be a top line on some teams in the league. And it doesn't stop there either. The third line, Niederreiter, fuck, pronounce that name from Minnesota. Niederreiter, thank you, Jordan Stahl and Victor Fast. That's a good third line. And then their fourth line, Lawrence, Steppen, and Martin Hook, just like a
greasy
except
line.
for Lawrence, that bottom 6 is just like older players that just know how to get it done. Has been playing for a long time, and then are hard on the puck. And then you go to their defense, and they got Jacob Slavin, Brady Shea, and Eric Cole on the left side. Ethan Bear, Pesci, and D'Angelo. D'Angelo gets a lot of shit, but he is a good offensive defenseman. Pesci and Slavin is probably some of the better defensive defensemen right now in the Eastern Conference. And Ethan Bear is just a solid defenseman too.
That was a good trade for both teams. I think Carolina won. I think Edmonton won on that trade.
Well, I think Edmonton could definitely use Bear.
Yeah.
But,
Warrenfogle has been good for him though. He's been getting his points.
Have. Yeah, for sure. No, I guess you can't argue. You can argue for both sides.
That's a good hockey
Carolina
trade.
might have won. It is, yeah. I think Carolina might have won by a bit though. So,
Yeah, they might have, because Ethan Bear's got a little more upside, I think.
yeah, I think so too. Well, I think the highest that Fogel's going to go is third line, and he might get like 30 points a year.
Fogel's on a good deal though. He's like 3 years, 4 years left on a $2.5 million contract. So he's kind of
that's
locked
great
up.
for Edmonton. Carolina doesn't really need those cap savings, but Edmonton definitely does, and that's why they got to play like Bear, I guess, back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Carolina, for my money, they could win. They're ready to win a Stanley Cup right now. They've got the pieces in place. They've got the goaltending. They got the coaching. They could easily win it this year. And if they did, I mean, they look good on paper and they look good on ice.
I think you're right, man. I love Carolina's makeup, and again, I shit on them at the start of the year, which I regret it. But that's you can't take that back. And
that's right, man.
I thought the goaltending was going to be. I don't want to shit on. Now you're probably thinking, he's a Leafs fan. He's pissed off Anderson left. No, not really. I mean, I'm happy for him.
No, I know
actually.
what you were saying, because I mean, how often can a team totally shake up their goaltending and still be all right? Like, I've never seen that before, and you probably don't see it very often. But just brought in 2 different goalies, and they're still just as good.
When we do a power ranking out again sometime the next month or so, you'll definitely see Carolina jump up on mine.
I'd say
pretty insane.
Where were they to on your last one? Do you remember?
I think they were like 16th, something like that, mid. Yeah,
well, we'll have to see.
They'll jump. Promise you that.
To add about any other teams or any teams we've talked
about? Not really, man. I just I felt like I could have added a nice few teams to this, but
it's hard.
Only pick 10.
Chewing it down to 10 teams. It's
but there's also a lot of teams that I wouldn't have even considered. Like, I mean, look at a team like Vancouver. They figured they'd be in this conversation. They're not even close in my eyes.
No.
Well,
Dallas, that's a weak division, right? That's a weak Pacific division, and teams like LA and Anaheim are just totally taking advantage of Seattle and Vancouver's slow start.
Yeah. Even a team like Dallas, I don't think they're close. I think their chance to win was when they were in the finals against Tampa. I don't think they're going to get close again.
And the most disappointing thing is probably Chicago. They're looking to go for a run, bringing in Seth Jones and Fleury, and they are a joke of this league. Actually, they're moving up the standings now that they fired their other coach, though. They're moving.
I think on paper, it looked good, but I don't know. It's just like, stop trying to hold on to the fucking 2015 team. We're moved on.
I think Chicago's going to move up a lot. I think Chicago's going to finish probably 23rd or something in the league, opposed to they were like 30th.
I think you're right.
Week.
I think you're right on that. Yeah,
they're gonna move up a bit, but
I think Ottawa's going to get it together too. I think Ottawa's going to move up from 30th. I think they're like 30th now, 29th.
I can't see it. I think they got a bit lucky last season. I think they're going to come back down to earth. I
like the group.
I said Detroit was going to finish below Ottawa and Montreal. I know for a fact you're going to finish above Montreal. Montreal is dog shit this year.
I think Detroit's looking at their early 20s, like 20th, 19th, 21, something like that.
Yeah, they might sneak in. That's too bad, though, because there's a nice few good prospects in the top 10.
Yeah, I'd like to see Detroit have another lottery pick, though, just one more.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him get a center.
Who do we have? We have Berggren coming in. Fuck. I don't know. We do have
Veleno
centers, though.
And Rasmussen.
Veleno and Rasmussen. Yeah,
but I'd like to
see not making more of an impact.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, it would have been really nice when Detroit was at their lowest to be. I know they got some really good players like Sutter and Raymond, and you wouldn't trade that because you got some star players, but it would have been nice to see him grab a really good center,
Yeah.
Because you need those centers.
I wanted us to get Trevor Zegras just because he had the same name as me and I like the way he played, but I'm happy we got Sider from 2019 now.
Oh, Sider is a fucking steal.
Sider is already our best defenseman.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Because I was hoping Hronek was going to have a really good season again.
And I like Hronek too. I think he's a solid defenseman, but Sider's just on a different level.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Anyways,
that's it for me.
That's about it. All right. Would you like to wish the listeners well kind of cast them off. Steve?
Yeah. Like everybody, like the Instagram page Hockey Tank, and go to the YouTube channel, Hockey Tank Podcast, I think it is. Subscribe to that. I mean, we got videos. They're not as frequent. It's definitely, if you want to keep track of us better, you're better off going to Instagram, because we're both in post-secondary education. I mean, it's hard to keep up with the YouTube. It's just so much work.
Yeah, it's just so easy just to get on Instagram and just throw something up really quick. And then make a whole thumbnail, like edit the video, put in descriptions, titles, and all that.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot harder to bang out a YouTube video, but I mean, if you want to keep track of us, I recommend Instagram. It's not daily, but it's, every week there's a couple posts up there.
I'd say every week. We probably 3 or 4 times a week, maybe.
Yeah, a couple times a week.
3 times a week, I'd say.
Instagram stories pretty active there too. So I always throw a few things up. So if you do like watching it, feel free to do that. And it's on all streaming platforms for your podcast. So whatever you want to listen to it on or recommend to your friends, they can watch it on pretty much anything. That's all I have to say. See you next week. Trevor, you can end it there.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. And we'll see you next week. Take care.